Alrighty. Hey, what is up, y'all? Michael Hernandez here, and I'm here today at the Flow State podcast, ready to talk some action with my man over here. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good, man. Mateo Flow with the Flow State podcast out here in Austin, Texas. Brand new podcast. Just a big fan of combat sports. So just trying to get my feet wet in the podcast game and just collaborate and meet all the cool people that I can meet through the sports. And yeah, it's my first collaboration, so I'm excited. And yeah, man, where are you out of?
Oh, we're over here in the central California area, man. So a little bit far out from that Texas area, but they just announced a card over there in Texas. Were you going to be heading over there to that card possibly to catch some of the action?
Man, they just announced that UFC Austin fight, and I am in Austin, man, and I'm so upset because I already have a flight booked out for my mom's birthday, man, and it's the same day as the card, so I'm like, man, of course they come the one weekend I'm going out of town, but man, I wanted to go because I mean that's a great card, man. They got Dan Hooker, Bobby Green. I'm a huge fan of those guys. So man,
Yeah, it
I
was
really wanted to see that fight.
I was really surprised by that matchup, Bobby Green and Dan Hooker. Kind of two guys that are obviously both known for their tenacity, both known for their striking prowess, but to match them both up at this stage in their career, I felt like it's a little bit crazy. I mean, I feel like the UFC is definitely they're riding on that Bobby Green hype, especially after that knockout from Grant Dawson. Would you agree?
I mean, well, we're kind of seeing like a resurgence in Bobby Green's career. That's what they're saying, man. He's got some momentum behind him right now, and I'm all for it, man. I really like Bobby Green. I think he has a great story. I've watched some of his like documentary type of videos on YouTube, and just like his story just coming up and just going through like foster homes and stuff like that. I think I'm rooting for Bobby Green, man. I saw him in person in San Diego, man. I was trying to get his attention. I just moved here from San Diego, and when they did, I went to the Cheeto Vera Dominic Cruz fight. He walked right past me, man, with like a Versace shirt on, and I was like, "Oh crap, that was Bobby Green," because I saw his beard and everything, and man. But yeah, I think for Dan Hooker, man, I think they're trying to. I mean, it's kind of like for him, it's kind of now or never a little bit because I mean he's not too old, but he's had his chances and he's got he's lost a few fights he could have used to get to the title, but I'm a huge fan of Dan Hooker too. I think that's a great fight, man. I think it can go either way, but I think Dan Hooker might have a little bit more weapons than Bobby Green. I mean, I would say Bobby Green's tougher, but dang, man, the last fight Dan Hooker had, he showed true warrior spirit, man. That was
Yeah,
that was an awesome fight, bro.
against
I
another
think he broke
SoCal
his
boy
hand and
too.
like say what?
I said I was against another SoCal boy too over there in Jalen Turner, and I thought that head kick, I thought that was gonna put him out, man. I was like, there is no way he survives from that, but he pushed forward and he pushed strong, and he was able to finish out that fight, getting the decision win. Did you agree with the decision? Did you feel like he had pulled out that fight?
I think so. I think he did. I think he did enough to win the fight. That's another guy, Jalen Turner, man. That dude's a beast too. That dude's a
Yeah.
beast. So I'm excited to see what he does too. That guy's. I mean, he's younger. He's got more time on his hands. But yeah, I think Dan Hooker did enough to get the win on that match. So it's gonna be
Craziest
exciting, man.
the craziest thing about all that, and that we were just talking about that UFC Austin card, that's not even the main event. Like Dariush and Tarsukian is going to be that main event. I feel like that
Yeah.
that co-main may overshadow it a little bit though, just because of the hype behind Hooker and obviously Bobby Green coming off of that knockout. But to talk about the UFC card coming up this actual weekend for UFC 295, what are some predictions that you maybe have, Matt? Because this is a pretty big fight leading up into UFC 300. We got a couple of huge title fights that could be possibly implicative of what we're going to be seeing in April. So who do you got, Yuri or Alex, Sergey or
Man,
Tom?
I got the shirt on right now, man. I got the Yuri shirt on. Man, I'm a fan of both of Yuri and Alex Pereira. So yeah, let's start with the light heavyweight main event. For UFC 295. Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. Man, I'll say this. As a fan, I would like to see Yuri win. It was unfortunate he had that huge shoulder injury. Like Dana White even said the docs back there said that this was the worst shoulder injury that they have ever seen in the UFC at all. So for him, I think that warrior mindset, because he's like pretty much the modern day samurai type of guy, a true martial artist. And that's something I really admire, and I think it's really cool, man. I love samurais and Japanese culture. So as a fan, man, I want Yuri Prochazka to win, to be honest with you, because he never lost his belt. He had an injury, he had to step away. But man, going against Alex Pereira is really tough. I mean, the guy just got inducted into the Glory Kickboxing Hall of Fame. The guy's striking is immaculate. We just seen him make his debut in light heavyweight, and he looked pretty good. They were saying they were basically saying he cut all that weight to kind of bully these guys, right, at middleweight a little bit. They were saying, Daniel Cormier was like, they were kind of saying he wasn't doing the same thing to Jan that he would normally do to some of these guys at middleweight. I think he looked great. Jan is no chump. So, man,
Yeah.
I think Alex Pereira has the technical striking that Yuri kind of lacks. Like I was rewatching some of his fights just yesterday, and I noticed. So for one, Yuri Prochazka is a very unorthodox fighter. Alex Pereira is a straight up kickboxer. His technical ability is sound. He's amazing. And not only is his technical ability there, his power is there in his hands. And especially that left hand hook. And that's what Yuri Prochazka was getting caught by Dominic Reyes in that fight. Even just a jab. Man, dude, I want Yuri to win really bad, but man, he keeps his hands down kind of like karate style, and he's very just unorthodox, which works. It works for him, but he even admitted that he got knocked out in that Dominic Reyes fight. He went down for a second, bro, and he woke back up and still fought, with that warrior mentality. But dude, he got knocked out in that fight, and I'm like, Dominic Reyes is no punk either. He gave John Jones one of his toughest fights.
Yes, very, very high caliber striker as well. With another karate background too, Dom Reyes. And yeah, I was just about to bring that up. It's so funny that we were both on that same wavelength. That Yuri kind of got knocked out in that fight, and he talked about it in the Ariel interview. I'm super interested to see, because like how they were saying, it's super unorthodox, and then you got the super orthodox. So it is truly the time to see who is going to win that matchup. And I'm gonna have to be the oppressor. I'm gonna have to be the one that's against you here, man. I think Alex is gonna be the one to pull it out. I love Yuri Prochazka. I love his style, but I just feel like that little karate style, the sway and the movements. Alex is eventually going to tempo that out somehow. And then also you got to look at the storyline going into this. And I'm surprised the UFC hasn't played with it a little bit more. Yuri beat his old teacher. He beat Glover. So there's no way Alex is going to come out of this. And we all know Alex Pereira and grudges. He does not hold a grudge to the angels up above. He holds it to the demons inside of him, man. And I think he is going to go inside the octagon. I think he's going to finish Yuri within 4 rounds. I do not see it going the distance.
That's one thing. I definitely don't see this fight going to a decision. I definitely do not see that. I was saying I'm a fan of Yuri. I'm a fan of Alex too, but I think Alex is going to win. I'll be honest. I would like to see Yuri win just as a fan, but I think Alex is going to win just because he's more technical. He's got the power, and then Yuri, you know, he really has to catch him with. Hell, catch him with a spinning elbow like he did Dominic Reyes.
Dom.
Catch him with something, make it a dog fight. Get. But Alex Pereira also has vicious elbows and knees too. So it's man, this is one of the best fights I think.
UFC put on.
This is
I
gonna,
think
this
it's
could
going to be
be
a
fight of the year, man.
yeah, no, and I think that it really could be in the aspect too, because it reminds me so much of that Glover and Yuri fight, as in Glover was also super well trained on fundamentals, really had a crisp striking game along with jiu-jitsu, and Yuri was able to bring that to the ground and was able to complete the rear naked choke, as we all seen over there in Singapore. But I don't know, man. Alex Pereira, his ground game is definitely pretty solid too. We haven't seen a lot of people besides for Jan really try and take it to him on the ground, and we all seen. I think he did pretty well. I think he passed the test. I feel like Jan is a lot heavier of a body, a lot bigger of a body than Alex is, than Yuri is for the division. So I feel like that will definitely come into play as well. But how about Sergey and Tom? That is a fight that will for sure not be ending in the decision, because both of those guys have some of the shortest fight averages in UFC history. Both of them are below 2.5 minutes, which is absolutely mind-boggling, absolutely insane. So who's gonna have that one, man? Who's gonna walk out victorious and be the one facing John Jones or Stipe Miocic possibly?
Man, so as a fan and as a guy with his head on straight, I got to go Tom Aspinall. I got to go Tom Aspinall. I think he is more well-rounded than Sergey Pavlovich. I think he's more athletic overall than Sergey. I think he has a better fight IQ than Sergey. I just think he's I think I think I think he gives John Jones a problem. Even I think both these guys would be great in a fight against John Jones, but man, I think Tom Aspinall gets the job done. I think he can get it done on the feet or on the ground since he is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but he also has to watch out for, that power of Pavlovich, because like he even said, I was watching an interview with Tom Aspinall. It's not that he just has this power. He times his shots. And when he times them shots, he's knocking your head off.
Yeah.
He's
he
taking
is
out
one
a
of the he is one of the most technically sound heavyweights I think I've ever watched fight. I feel like his striking ability, like how you were saying before, it's just so he doesn't use his energy in unwillful ways. Every single time Sergey Pavlovich is throwing a punch, every single time Sergey Pavlovich is even approaching and trying to weave out of certain situations, even in that Thai fight. Thai clipped him with a little bit of a something, and it just seemed Sergey was so calm. So I'm really interested to see how he's going to respond to Tom when Tom does try and bring it to the different aspects. I feel like Tom is not just going to try and keep it standing. Tom's definitely going to try and take this fight to the ground at some point, if not in right away. Would I be wrong in that, or do you feel that Tom is going to try and slug this one out on the feet, try and prove
I
some people wrong,
think
maybe?
I think he does try to get the fight to the ground. I think that's his easiest route to victory, his smartest route to victory. And I would like to see him put that black belt to use in this fight. Uh, because it's less risky than just standing and banging with this guy. This guy in Sergey Pavlovich I just looked, I think it was 7 first round TKOs and KOs. So man, that's not a guy in the first round. You got to make it out of the first round. And if you got to wrestle a little bit and take it to the ground, and maybe I'm confident in Tom Aspinall's striking ability as well, though. That's the thing. This guy any heavyweight can knock any heavyweight out in any given moment. They got the power, they got the weight behind their hands, and Sergey Pavlovich has some has some defense to work on if he's gonna keep the fight on the feet. He's gonna have to really work on his really implement his wrestling defense. I think Sergey definitely wants to keep the fight on the feet. He's gonna have to keep that uppercut ready for Tom, just like Eric Lewis we just saw was trying to uppercut Jelton Almeida the whole time, but that didn't work out very well.
Yeah,
But I
no, it'll be an interesting game plan to see how both of these guys walk into the fight and how they're going to try and approach each other because I feel they both know that their very opposing styles are going to something's going to have to give. It's just like in every single clash that we've seen previously for the championships, like how we were saying in the aforementioned Glover and Yuri Prohaska fight when they fought in Singapore. Everyone was like, "Oh, well, Glover's traditionally a grappler and Yuri's traditionally a striker." I would like to say Glover banged out a good amount of that fight. He showed that Hawaiian Kempo was very much still intact. But talking a little bit more down the card, we got Jessica Andrade. Bate Estaca is coming back. She is going to be fighting against Mackenzie Dern. How are you feeling about this matchup? A women's strawweight bout, huge implications. I feel Jessica Andrade is kind of like that. She's the middle, like, before a girl's going to take that championship leap, they always give them Jessica Andrade. So who do you got in this one, man? Both of them jiu-jitsu black belts, I believe, and both very, very skilled grapplers. Do you think this one's going to be on the feet, or how do you see this one playing out?
Man, this is a great matchup. So yeah, Jessica Andrade is someone Mackenzie Dern is gonna have to get through to get to that belt. Jessica Andrade is like a little pit bull, man. She is strong as hell, and I'll definitely give that edge, the strength to Andrade in this bout. I think Mackenzie Dern is gonna have to use some of her jujitsu. Man, I think Andrade knocks her out. I'll be honest. I think Andrade has power in her hands, and if not, she's gonna slam her like she did. I mean, you saw what happened when she slammed Rose Namajunas. That was one of the craziest knockouts I've seen in women's fighting. She just picked her up, slammed her on her head, and she was out. Uh, so Jessica Andrade, man, is a straight dog in that division. I think Jessica Andrade knocks her out under 3 rounds. So yeah. What
Yeah,
about you,
same.
man?
I feel like that fight, it's pretty interesting. I feel a lot more of the same. I feel Jessica has a lot more of the tools on the feet to win the fight. But, and this will be my but, Mackenzie Dern does work over there with Jason Perillo, does work over there with Cheeto Vera, has a lot of people in her corner in the Los Angeles area to help her get that striking game right. I feel that she knows before going into this fight, Dern has to know that there is going to be a slugging match. I feel like she has to kind of have this idea. I don't think that she's going to beat Andrade purely jiu-jitsu. She is the daughter of Megaton Diaz, but I still think that it's going to be a fight on the feet. And I think that Jessica Andrade, if it is a fight on the feet, she is going to be the one that comes out victorious in that. But how about that women's strawweight division? It's very, very interesting. I feel like that UFC has a chance to build something over there that is really hasn't really been seen in the women division. They have the chance to build a super fight with Wei Li and with Yan Yaunin. They have a chance to build something with Tatiana Suarez. They have Amanda Lemos over there who just fought Zhang Wei Li. They have that chance to continue to build on that. There's just so many different routes in the strawweight division at the moment that the champion can take. Do you feel that
Yeah.
if Mackenzie Dern wins this fight, that she possibly has a chance to go up and fight for that title, or do you think that it's going to be one more person before she hits the way up? Or if Jessica Andrade wins, because Jessica Andrade ranked fifth, Mackenzie Dern ranked seventh.
I think that if Mackenzie Dern wins in a exciting way, I think that they could make that matchup for Whaley Andrade. Uh, hmm. They haven't Andrade hasn't fought Whaley, has she?
Andrade
Andrade?
and Lee have not fought yet, I believe. They don't believe they have fought yet.
That would be interesting. I'll be honest. I don't think Mackenzie Dern wins this fight. I don't want to count her out, but man, Andrade is a dog, man. She keeps coming. She hits hard as bricks. She's hard to take down. Like you said, she's a black belt also. I mean,
She, but
Mackenzie Dern's really
Andrade definitely has too. She's faced a lot of that top competition. I mean, her last three fights, she fought Tatiana Suarez, she fought Erin Blanchfield, and she fought Yan Yaunin. All those women are in the top of their respective weight divisions. They're at the top of the weight classes. So I just feel like for Mackenzie Dern, she's really going to have to come into this fight and prove something against Jessica Andrade, because Jessica Andrade is going to come into this fight hungry for a victory, especially after those three losses. And I'm still surprised that she is ranked fifth. I know that she was obviously fighting top level competition, but to have three high level losses in a row and still be ranked the fifth in your division definitely does show that the UFC does have a lot of promise in her. They definitely see her still as very much a championship contender. But leading into this next fight, we got Pat Sabatini and Diego Lopez in the featherweight division. Diego Lopez rising up those featherweight rankings, man. He has been absolutely killing it in the UFC so far. Pat Sabatini obviously only having one loss on his record, or a couple of losses on his record. So I feel the UFC definitely did a pretty good job in matchmaking this one. Diego rising up those rankings, and Pat Sabatini with a very solid record coming into the UFC. Who do you think takes this one, man?
man. Wasn't Matt Frivola and Benoit Saint Denis next? Weren't they fighting?
Yes.
Aren't they
Yeah,
fighting?
that they're also fighting him. I my apologies to the steamroller, man. He's up on this card against Benoit Saint Denis. Pravola making his long-awaited home return over there to the New York City area to go get watched in front of Ray Longo and company. So, who do you got for that fight, man?
Dude, I'm going with the Frenchman. I'm going with Benoit Saint Denis. Dude, I was watching a little documentary on him, man. It's crazy. He was a French like special forces, like kind of like a Navy SEAL over there. Dude, and I saw like, dude, I've seen some of his fights. This guy he has got one of the biggest hearts in the UFC, I think, man. Like when he fought Dos Santos, oh my goodness, the ref could have stopped that fight, but man, this dude is a dog, man. I just found out about him not too long ago, and man, I would like to see him fight. I think it's gonna be a good stand up fight. What about you, man? What do you think? What do you think? Who you think is gonna win
I
against?
personally, I was also going to be rocking with Benoit, just because I love Matt, man. Matt's personality for the UFC is awesome, especially because he's got that traditional New York, he's got that vibe to him, and just I love his personality. I love that he called out Patty. I really was hoping that the UFC was going to give him that Patty
Man,
fight, but I just don't see him getting that win against Benoit unless he just grapples the ever living hell out of him and he's able to bring him to the ground. And but even then, I think Benoit, he has a couple of tricks up his sleeve to where I think he could surprise a lot of people on the ground. I know Matt's obviously very skilled on the ground and has won a lot of his fights there, but I feel that Benoit is going to be able to pull out this one. I feel like he's going to probably take it to a decision. I don't see him taking down Frivola and knocking him out. Frivola is one of those guys that like the only time he does get knocked out, it's going to be on a whim. That Terrence McKinney knockout.
yeah.
I don't know. It's Frivola's one of those tough guys in the UFC, man. So I just don't see Benoit taking him out viciously in that fashion. I think it's going to go to a decision. I think Benoit is going to get his hand raised at the end of the night.
So you think key to victory for Matt would be the grappling?
I think Matt, yes, I feel the key to victory for Matt is just taking him to the ground and winning off of points, winning off of what Matt does best, utilizing the ground and pound, utilizing a lot of key holds, and making sure that his opponent is not able to utilize utilizes obviously very, very very good striking. I mean, you know that to ignore Benoit's striking in this fight would be a little ignorant of Matt. I know Matt likes to stand and bang. I know Matt likes to have fun on the feet, but there's just some fights that you got to know, like, hey, pick your poison. And
Yeah.
if he picks the poison to striking, I feel it's gonna be a long night for the steamroller.
Yeah, that's gonna be dude, that's gonna be a great fight also, man. I'm looking forward to that
Yeah,
one.
that I
A
was
great
surprised
card.
when the UFC threw that one so high up on the card. I know they love Matt, but it was to have it as the fourth ranked fight. I was like, wow, the UFC's out here showing love to the New Yorker, man. That's great. I was absolutely I was really excited to see Matt up there on the main card, as well as the fight we were talking about earlier, Diego Lopez. I feel Diego Lopez, one of those guys that even in his last fight that he had, his last loss against Mosvar, as a left. I thought he won that fight. I genuinely think you could put a gun to my head, give me Diego Lopez in that fight. I just feel like he won. I feel he won the fight, but um, obviously, you know, the decision went the other way. How do you feel about this fight? Pat Sabatini, 18-4 coming into this. Diego Lopez, 22-6. But Diego has definitely faced a couple of top competition in the UFC. I feel this is his toughest test so far. Would I be wrong in saying that?
I think it is, man. I'm looking at their records in the UFC, and I'm seeing submissions on both their ends, and I'm seeing decisions on both their ends. I think this is a where somebody's got to prove themselves. It's a coin toss for me. Jiu-jitsu guy, love seeing submissions. What do you think about this fight? I'm not
I think
super familiar with these gentlemen, but
I think Diego takes it. I think Diego's gonna prove a lot of people. I think he's gonna prove a lot of people wrong. And I know a lot of people are kind of writing him off on this card, just because I know the UFC they booked him and they booked Lupi, and obviously a lot of people for whatever reason they get all in their feelings when two fighters from the same can't get booked on the same cards. But I feel like Diego is going to surprise a lot of people in this fight. I think he's going to get the submission. I would give me the round two. I think round two he's going to be able to get it done. If not round one, I feel like Diego Lopez's grappling is a very very undermined skill in his arsenal. I feel like even though a lot of people know he is super good at grappling, fighters going into the fight, I don't think they are looking for it. They see the capoeira style, they see a lot of the realms of his game, and I feel like the submission art kind of gets lost in that. So very excited to see where Diego takes the fight. I think he's going to take it to the ground. I think he gets it done in round two. But just a couple of last fights I wanted to talk to you about. Tabitha Ricci, Lupi Godinez, huge fight in the women's strawweight division for the lower rankings. They're both ranked over there. I believe Lupi's 12. Tabitha Ricci's eking in there at 15. Tabitha, somebody I've interviewed before, definitely a very, very interesting fighter. Somebody that I feel is going to be slowly rising up those rankings and just continually beating that top competition. I got Tabitha here by a unanimous decision, man. I think Tabitha's going to get it done. I know Lupi's got that sneaky good striking. I know she works over there in Guadalajara, Mexico with Alexa and with Irene Aldana. But man, I don't know. Tabitha Ricci, she proved a lot of people wrong in that performance against Gillian Roberson. And she just continues to prove people wrong. She even got that armbar finish a couple of matches ago. So I feel like Tabitha Ricci is slowly becoming one of those threats in the women's strawweight division. Like how I was saying, that women's strawweight, man, it's super, super deep.
yeah, it's exciting right now, man. Yeah, I follow Tabitha Ricci. I saw you do an interview with her. Man, that's awesome. That's cool, man. I think I think she's a beast, man. She very athletic, very athletic. I see her strength and conditioning programs, and man, she gets after it, man. I do think her opponent having training with Alexa is gonna really. I mean, anytime you're training with champions and stuff like that, it rubs off on you. You know, you're you're around greatness, so you're aspiring to the same greatness. So I think being in a gym like that, regardless of, you know, your opponent, I think that really gives you that momentum, I think. But shoot, that's a tough one. That's a tough one
Yeah.
right there.
No, I think it genuinely I think it could be a tough fight for Tabitha. I think it's going to be one of those first tests for her in the I mean, she had that test against Montefiore, and that obviously wasn't didn't go her way. I mean, but even then, she proved in that fight that she can stand and she can bang with the best of them. So I feel like this Lupe fight will be a very good test to see where she is at in the striking department. I think that she is going to definitely open up some eyes because Lupe's striking, man. She is able to pull out a lot pull out a lot of people into the Lupe Godinez fan base with that sort of, it's like that Mexican boxing style of striking that she is just so successful in. I feel like if she's throwing 5 punches, at least 3 of those are hitting. You know, she is super clean and crisp with all of her striking combinations. So I'm super excited to see how everything fares out on Saturday. Thank you so much for your time today, Flo Matt. I know it's been a hell of a week, man. It has been a hell of a week for UFC. We're getting so much news coming in as to how 2024 is going to look like. So it is just absolutely amazing game to talk to you, man. Was there anything that you kind of wanted to end off the call with today, brother?
Man, they just announced a few fights. Who you think's gonna win, man? Marlon Cheeto Vera or Sean O'Malley in
I got to go
March?
with my boy Cheeto. I've interviewed Cheeto. He's a great guy. Talked to his coach Jason Perillo before. I feel like they have that recipe to beat Sean. I personally think that Sean is a little over his head and where he says that Cheeto got lucky in their fight. I think Sean, as much as he criticizes Cheeto for being super slow in fights, and Sean isn't also the fastest starter either. If you watch the Pedro Munoz fight, if you watch the Cheeto Vera fight, if you watch a lot of his fights, he is not the fastest starter. That Aljo fight, I feel like it was a lightning in a bottle kind of performance. No hate towards O'Malley. I think he is going to be one of the top bantamweights that we see in the sport. I just see Cheeto Vera taking that one, man. I just see Cheeto Vera kind of being that Alex Pereira to Sean O'Malley. And I just see him taking it. I really just don't see Sean winning this fight. Sean doesn't have the jiu-jitsu over Cheeto. Cheeto's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I know Cheeto had some struggles against Sandhagen in the grappling department, but Sandhagen's a killer wrestler. A lot of people undermine Sandhagen's wrestling abilities as well, just due to the fact that he's such a good striker. But I don't think that O'Malley has the wrestling and the grappling to hold down Cheeto for 5 rounds. And I think that's the only way that he would be able to get this done. So I would say Cheeto. I think Cheeto could either take it by UD or I think he could get a TKO by round 3 or round 4.
Man, that's a good prediction, man. I think Cheeto's got to knock him out. I think people underestimate Sean's grappling. I mean, I seen he was doing a UFC
Fight Pass. He grappled against Shinya
Takanori
Aoki, I
Gomi.
believe. Oh, Tazan
Takanori
Gomi. There we
Gomi.
go.
Yeah.
There we
Sweet
go.
guillotine. He's training under Tim Welch over there at Soul Fighter, and dude, I think his grapplings came a long way, man. Like his jujitsu skills are underestimated a lot. I think Cheeto Vera has to KO. If it goes to points, I think Sean his output is more than Cheeto, and I think if it goes to the judges, I think that Sean gets the victory, but I think Cheeto has to get the KO. It would be interesting if they just had an all-out grappling exchange. Like that'd be kind of crazy, a little stalemate kind of thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Cheeto's my favorite fighter in the UFC right now. So I saw you interviewed him, man. I was like, dang, that's sweet, man. That's a cool dude
Yeah.
right there, man. I'm a huge fan of him, man. So I'm glad he got the title shot. You know, I think that's what the fans wanted. And I think he gets it done, man. I'm going Cheeto
Yeah.
all the way.
I think a lot of fans were. I think fans wanted it. I think a lot of fans were surprised the UFC was so willing to do it, just considering the fact that obviously I know Cheeto got this last win against Pedro, but having the struggle against Sanhagen, I know a lot of people were like, is he going to get it? I know he got 50, kind of 45. It's a debatable kind of thing if he should get the title shot, but I'm one of those people, man. If you got that fight, it's just like with the Jiskis and Israel situation. If you have the fight and you got that lightning in the bottle, you have everything there, you got to take that fight while it's there, man. You can't just let it sit there and let it build
Yeah.
up. So I'm super appreciative of your time today. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your platform, my man. And make sure that you guys are, if you're not already, following me on my Instagram, mlhmedia.mma. I do fight interviews with fighters from all over the state of California, hopefully looking to branch into the UFC and forward for the years 2024 and on, man. So make sure you guys are following the journey.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. It was great talking to you, man.
Hey, great talking to you, brother.
Peace and love, brother.
You as well.